Hello there, and welcome to Science for Sleep. Tonight, we explore the quiet mysteries of memory, how your brain creates, preserves, and transforms the story of who you are. Memories aren't simple recordings. They're living reconstructions that reshape each time you recall them, weaving together the person you were with who you've become. Some fade like distant stars, while others glow with decades of warmth, holding secrets about who you truly are. You've got nothing to do but rest now. Let your mind relax, your breathing slow, your body grow light. There's nowhere to go, nothing to prove, just you, and the gentle exploration of how your extraordinary brain works. If this helps you rest deeply, please like and subscribe to join our community dedicated to science and peaceful sleep. Now, let's begin with the wonders of memory. Your memories are not the frozen snapshots you imagine them to be. Each time you recall a memory, your brain does not simply retrieve a stored file. It reconstructs the entire experience from scattered pieces, weaving together fragments of sensation, emotion, and meaning. Scientists have discovered that during this reconstruction, your mind integrates new information from the present moment, subtly rewriting what you thought you remembered with absolute certainty. A childhood birthday party becomes tinged with emotions you felt last week. A conversation from years ago shifts its meaning based on what you have learned since then. This constant rewriting is not a flaw in your memory system, but rather a feature that allows your brain to keep your past experiences relevant to your present life. The memories that matter most to you are being gently reshaped by time itself, always becoming something slightly different than they were before. Deep within your brain lies a small, curved structure called the hippocampus, shaped somewhat like a seahorse when viewed under a microscope. This remarkable region serves as the gateway through which all new memories must pass before they can become part of your permanent knowledge. Yet this delicate structure is profoundly vulnerable to the stress that accumulates in your daily life. When you experience chronic stress, when worry becomes your constant companion, the hippocampus actually shrinks in size. The neural tissue that creates the foundation of your ability to form new lasting memories physically diminishes. This means that during periods of prolonged tension and anxiety, your brain becomes less capable of encoding fresh experiences into long-term storage. The very organ responsible for helping you remember struggles when your body remains in a state of alert. This is why rest, why this gentle time of relaxation, why allowing your mind to settle becomes so essential for preserving your memory capacity as you move through the years. Consider how quickly new information slips away from your mind. Within just 1 hour of learning something new, you forget approximately 50% of what you encountered. This natural decay of memory, discovered by psychologists studying how we learn, is called the forgetting curve. It describes the steep decline that occurs when information lacks emotional significance or repeated reinforcement. You read something in the morning, and by evening, it has largely evaporated. You hear a name introduced at a gathering, and moments later, it is dissolved into the background of your awareness. This is not a personal failing or a sign of poor attention. This is how your brain protects itself from drowning in trivial details. Your mind prioritizes the essential and releases the mundane, creating space for the truly meaningful to take root and flourish. Understanding this natural rhythm of forgetting can bring a quiet acceptance to the impermanence of everyday information. Yet there is one time when your brain works with remarkable dedication to preserve your memories in their most durable form. During sleep, particularly during the deep REM stages when dreams arise, your brain enters a state of active consolidation. The experiences you lived through during the day are replayed in miniature, transferred from temporary storage in the hippocampus into the more permanent filing systems of your cortex. Sleep transforms fragile new memories into stable, lasting knowledge. Scientists have watched this process unfold through brain imaging, observing how the hippocampus essentially tutors the cortex, teaching it the new information that needs to be retained. Without adequate sleep, this transfer cannot fully occur. Your memories remain vulnerable, incomplete, unable to settle into long-term storage. This is why rest is not a luxury, but a necessity for preserving the experiences that shape your understanding of the world. Every night when you surrender to sleep, your brain continues its essential work, quietly consolidating the story of your life. Certain moments in your life are encoded with extraordinary intensity, burned into your memory with remarkable clarity and permanence. These are the memories colored by emotion, moments of profound joy, unexpected loss, sudden fear, or overwhelming love. When you experience a significant emotional event, your amygdala, the brain's emotional processing center, becomes highly active. This almond-shaped structure tags the memory as important, as worthy of preservation. The amygdala essentially places a priority marker on the experience, ensuring that the neural pathways encoding it become strengthened and reinforced. Emotional memories resist forgetting in ways that neutral memories simply cannot match. You may forget where you parked your car this morning, but you remember exactly where you were and what you felt when you received life-changing news years ago. This emotional encoding served your ancestors well, helping them remember dangers and opportunities with vivid clarity. Even now, your brain continues this ancient practice, etching emotional moments into your neural architecture with remarkable durability and depth. There exists a curious gap at the beginning of every human life, a period of mystery where memory simply does not reach. Try as you might to remember your third birthday, your second Christmas, your first day of anything. These memories are simply not accessible. Childhood amnesia prevents virtually all of us from recalling events that occurred before approximately age 3 or 4. Scientists remain genuinely uncertain about the precise cause of this universal forgetting. Some researchers suggest the hippocampus is not yet sufficiently developed to encode stable, long-term memories. Others propose that early memories are encoded but become inaccessible as your brain restructures itself during development. Still, others theorize that without language to narrate and anchor early experiences, they cannot be integrated into the autobiographical narrative that becomes your sense of self. Whatever the mechanism, this amnesia reminds us that memory is not simply a recording device, but a process deeply intertwined with brain development, language acquisition, and the gradual emergence of a sense of continuous identity through time. Among all the senses that feed your brain with information about the world, smell possesses a peculiar power over memory that sight and sound cannot match. When you encounter a familiar scent, lavender from childhood summers, a particular perfume worn by someone you loved, the smell of a kitchen where you spent countless hours, memory can flood back with startling vividness and emotional intensity. This happens because the olfactory system, the neural pathways processing smell, bypasses the thalamus, the brain's central relay station, and connects directly to the limbic system, including the hippocampus and amygdala. Smell has a direct hotline to your emotional memory centers, visual information, and sounds must first be processed and relayed through multiple brain regions before reaching emotional memory systems. But scent arrives immediately at the emotional core of your brain, triggering memories and feelings with a directness that other senses cannot achieve. This is why a single smell can transport you across decades in an instant. Why fragrance can unlock memories you did not know you still carried within yourself. Your brain does not have a single unified memory system, but rather multiple specialized systems working in parallel, each encoding and retrieving different types of information through different neural pathways. Declarative memory stores facts and knowledge. You know that Paris is the capital of France, that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, that your friend's name is Sarah. This type of memory depends heavily on the hippocampus and surrounding structures. Procedural memory, by contrast, encodes skills and how to do things: riding a bicycle, playing an instrument, swimming, typing, and relies on different brain regions including the cerebellum and basal ganglia. Then there is emotional memory, encoded through the amygdala, which colors your responses to people and places with feeling independent of conscious knowledge. These systems can be affected independently by injury or disease. A person might lose declarative memory but retain procedural skills. Another might lose emotional memory, becoming unable to feel fear in genuinely dangerous situations. Understanding that your brain divides memory into specialized systems reveals how memory is not a monolithic capacity, but rather an intricate orchestra of distinct neural functions. False memories feel entirely authentic. They possess the same subjective quality of truth as genuine memories, the same sense of certainty and clarity. Your brain cannot distinguish between accurately remembered events and false memories, implanted through suggestion or imagination based on how they feel when you retrieve them. Studies have demonstrated that researchers can create entirely false memories of events that never occurred: getting lost in a shopping mall as a child, meeting a celebrity, spilling punch at a wedding. And these false memories feel as real as true ones. The emotional intensity feels genuine. The sensory details seem vivid. Your confidence in the accuracy feels warranted, yet the event never happened. This reveals a profound truth about memory. It is not a neutral recording of objective reality, but a reconstruction shaped by suggestion, expectation, emotion, and the power of imagination. Your memories feel true because your brain creates a coherent, believable narrative. Truth and feeling become intertwined in ways that reveal the fundamental nature of how consciousness experiences its own past. Each memory you form physically reshapes your brain's architecture at the microscopic level. When you encode a new memory, new synaptic connections form between neurons. Billions of new connections as your brain integrates fresh experience into its existing networks. Synapses strengthen, new dendritic spines sprout from neural branches, and the landscape of your neural tissue subtly transforms. This is not metaphorical. Your brain is literally reorganized by memory formation. The person you are today, at this very moment, has a different brain structure than you did yesterday because of the memories you formed. Over a lifetime, a human brain is continuously being reshaped by the accumulation of experiences, creating unique neural architectures that reflect the specific path your life has taken. No two brains are identical because no two people have lived identical lives or formed identical memories. Every conversation you remember, every place you have been, every emotion you have felt has left its mark in the physical structure of your neural tissue, making you neurologically unique in the universe. Your memories are quite literally woven into the fabric of your being. When your mind wanders, when you are not focused on external tasks, when you simply allow your thoughts to drift without direction, a particular network of brain regions becomes active. Neuroscientists call this the default mode network, and it activates precisely when you stop attending to the outside world. This network specializes in autobiographical thinking, in the gentle review and integration of your own experiences and memories. During these moments of mind wandering, your brain is not idle or unfocused. It is actively engaged in the essential work of processing your past, connecting disparate experiences, and weaving them into a coherent narrative of self. These quiet moments of internal reflection appear fundamental to how memories become integrated and meaningful. When you sit by a window and let your thoughts wander, when you lie in bed before sleep overtakes you, when you take a solitary walk without destination, your default mode network is quietly working to organize and consolidate the story of your life. This gentle, natural state of consciousness is where memory becomes not just information, but understanding. As you move through the decades of your life, your memory system changes in subtle yet profound ways. Many assume that memory simply declines with age, that older adults inevitably remember less than younger ones. Yet the reality is far more nuanced and often surprising. While processing speed does decline and the ability to quickly encode new information may slow, older adults often retain or even exceed younger people in long-term memory for meaningful information. The accumulated knowledge built across a lifetime, the depth of established memory networks woven through decades of experience, can actually enhance recall for information that connects to this rich background knowledge. An older adult may struggle to remember where they placed their glasses this morning, yet they may vividly recall details from their childhood or possess encyclopedic knowledge about subjects they have studied throughout their life. Memory is not a unitary capacity that simply fades uniformly. It is a multifaceted system where different types of memory age differently, where wisdom and accumulated understanding can actually compensate for slower processing speed. The environment in which you form a memory becomes woven into the memory itself in ways you may not consciously realize. If you learn something new while sitting in a particular room, the details of that room, its colors, textures, even its subtle scents, become associated with the memory you form. Later, when you return to that same environment, retrieving the memory becomes dramatically easier. The context-dependent nature of memory means that memory retrieval is facilitated when your current context matches the context in which the memory was encoded. This is why returning to your childhood home suddenly floods you with forgotten experiences. This is why walking into the building where you studied in university can trigger vivid recollections of conversations and learning from decades ago. Your brain encodes not just the information, but the surrounding context, creating a rich web of associations that can cue memory retrieval. Understanding this principle reveals how your environment is not merely a backdrop to your experiences, but an integral part of how memories are constructed and retrieved. Deep within your brain, beneath the wrinkled cortex that handles conscious thought and sensory processing, lies the cerebellum, a structure that has remained remarkably unchanged for millions of years of evolution. This ancient brain region serves as the repository for procedural memories, the memories of how to do things. When you learned to ride a bicycle as a child, the cerebellum encoded the motor patterns, the balance, the coordination. When you learned to swim or play an instrument or type on a keyboard, these motor skills were stored in cerebellar networks. What is remarkable about cerebellar memories is their extraordinary durability. Skills learned and practiced, become encoded with remarkable permanence. You can go years without riding a bicycle, yet the moment you try again, your body remembers the balance and coordination with striking accuracy. You can abandon an instrument for a decade, yet muscle memory partially returns with practice. The cerebellum creates motor memories that resist forgetting in ways that other memory systems cannot match. This ancient brain region specializes in preserving the physical knowledge of how to move your body through the world. Your body's response to stress profoundly shapes how memories are encoded and what you remember. When you experience threat or high arousal, your brain releases stress hormones, including cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones act on your memory systems in contradictory ways. On one hand, cortisol can impair the formation of new declarative memories, the facts and events you consciously try to remember. Under severe stress, your ability to encode new information becomes compromised, yet simultaneously, these same stress hormones enhance the encoding of emotional memories. Survival-relevant information, threats and dangers, and emotionally charged events become prioritized and deeply encoded. Your brain's stress response essentially makes a trade-off, sacrificing routine memory formation to ensure that dangerous or critical information gets preserved with maximum clarity. This ancient survival mechanism served your ancestors well, helping them remember threats and dangers with vivid detail while letting mundane information fade. Even in modern life, when stress is often psychological rather than physical threat, your brain continues this ancient pattern of prioritizing emotional and survival-related memories. The concept of photographic memory. The idea that some rare individuals can view something once and retain it perfectly, with all details intact, is largely a myth unsupported by rigorous neuroscience. While some people do possess genuinely exceptional memory abilities, true photographic memory with perfect, permanent, instantly retrievable detail has never been reliably demonstrated in scientific studies. What researchers do find is that some individuals have superior memory for specific types of information, numbers, faces, images, or words. These exceptional memories arise from differences in how their brains encode and organize information, not from the existence of a perfect mental camera. Someone with exceptional memory for faces may struggle with verbal information. Someone with outstanding mathematical memory may not remember details of conversations. Memory is always selective, always shaped by attention, interest, and the brain's inherent organizational principles. Even the most gifted memorizers encode information through processes of active organization and integration, not through photographic capture. Understanding this reveals that all human memory, even exceptional memory, relies on the brain's active construction of meaning rather than passive recording of reality. For a memory to transition from fragile and temporary to stable and lasting, your brain must synthesize new proteins. At the molecular level, when you form a new memory, your neurons activate genes that produce proteins essential for strengthening synaptic connections. These newly synthesized proteins are incorporated into the synapses, physically stabilizing the neural connections that encode the memory. Without this protein synthesis, memories remain temporary and begin to decay within hours or days. This molecular process, driven by the activation of immediate early genes and the subsequent production of proteins like XREB and BDNF, is essential for long-term potentiation, the strengthening of synapses that underlies permanent memory storage. This is why certain substances that interfere with protein synthesis can disrupt memory formation, and why adequate nutrition and sleep, which support protein synthesis, are essential for healthy memory function. At every level, from the molecular machinery of your cells to the vast networks of your brain, memory requires active biological work to transition from fleeting impression to enduring knowledge. You unconsciously edit your memories to align with your current beliefs, values, and sense of identity. The brain does not simply store and retrieve information neutrally. As you retrieve a memory and reconstruct it, you shape it to be consistent with who you believe yourself to be now. If you have changed your political beliefs, your memories of past political discussions subtly reshape themselves to align with your current convictions. If you have grown more confident, your memories of past social interactions may shift, with you remembering yourself as more assertive than you perhaps were. This unconscious editing serves a psychological function, maintaining narrative coherence and a sense of continuous identity through time. Yet it also means that your memories of your own life become progressively less objective records of what actually happened, and increasingly stories you have constructed to make sense of your journey. Your sense of who you are shapes your memories, and your memories in turn reinforce your sense of self, creating a feedback loop that continuously rewrites your past to fit your present identity. There is a peculiar bulge in memory across the lifespan, a phenomenon that neuroscientists call the reminiscence bump. When people recall their most vivid and meaningful memories, when they think about the events that stand out most clearly across their entire lives, the greatest concentration of these memories comes from a specific period, approximately ages 15 through 25. This late adolescence and early adulthood period seems to possess a special vividness and memorability that other life periods do not match. Memories from middle age often seem less distinct, less vibrant, less emotionally resonant than memories from this earlier period. Scientists debate the causes. Some suggest these years are simply more eventful and identity-defining. Others propose biological factors make the teenage brain particularly susceptible to emotional encoding. Still others argue these were formative years when you first developed your adult identity. Whatever the cause, this reminiscence bump reveals that memory is not uniformly distributed across your lifespan, but rather clustered around certain periods that feel more significant and memorable than others. Your brain contains specialized regions dedicated specifically to recognizing and remembering human faces. The fusiform face area, located in the temporal lobe, shows dramatically increased activation when you see a face compared to other visual objects. This region dedicates neural resources to the remarkable task of distinguishing thousands of faces and storing their features in memory. Throughout your life, you develop the ability to recognize and remember faces with striking accuracy. You can encounter someone you have not seen in decades and recognize them instantly. Yet this same brain region can become damaged, leading to prosopagnosia, where individuals lose the ability to recognize faces while retaining the ability to see and identify other objects normally. The brain's specialization for face recognition reveals how evolution has shaped your neural systems to prioritize social information. Faces carry crucial information about identity, emotion, and social relationships. Your brain has dedicated sophisticated neural machinery to the essential task of encoding, storing, and recognizing the faces of those who populate your social world, ensuring that this vital information remains accessible throughout your life. Forgetting is not a failure of your memory system, but rather an essential feature of healthy mental function. If you retained every detail of every moment you experienced, your mind would become overwhelmed, drowning in trivial information that serves no purpose. Imagine remembering exactly what you ate for lunch on random Tuesdays from years ago, or every conversation you overheard but were not part of, or every intermediate thought that flickered through your consciousness. Your brain would become paralyzed by the sheer volume of useless detail. Instead, your memory system has evolved to selectively preserve information that matters while releasing the mundane. Forgetting allows the truly significant to remain accessible and useful. It protects your mind from clutter and chaos. This selective pruning of information, this gentle erosion of trivial details over time, represents not a weakness, but a sophisticated adaptation that allows your brain to function with grace and clarity. Understanding, forgetting, as a feature rather than a flaw, brings acceptance to the natural impermanence of everyday information. During moments of emotional intensity, during times when your body surges with arousal or surprise or fear, your brain releases a neurochemical messenger called norepinephrine. This substance floods from the locus coeruleus, a small region in your brainstem, spreading throughout your brain during emotionally significant moments. Norepinephrine acts like a biological highlighter, marking certain experiences as important and worthy of preservation. The neurotransmitter essentially places a save tag on moments that deviate from your normal experience, ensuring that novel and emotional events receive priority during memory consolidation. This is why you vividly remember the moment you heard shocking news, but forget the mundane details of ordinary days. This is why surprising encounters lodge themselves in your memory, while routine interactions slip away. Your brain's chemistry itself encodes importance, using neurochemical signals to distinguish between information that warrants permanent storage and experiences that can safely be allowed to fade. Understanding this reveals how emotion and memory are inextricably linked at the deepest neurochemical levels. As time passes and years accumulate, your memories of personal experiences gradually lose their specific sensory details. The vivid colors fade to something more abstract. The precise sounds become general impressions. The detailed spatial layout simplifies into basic structure, yet the emotional gist, the core feeling and meaning of the experience, often persists with remarkable durability. You may not remember exactly what your childhood home looked like in detail, but you remember how it felt to be there. You may not recall the specific words spoken in an important conversation, but you remember its emotional significance and general content. This progressive loss of sensory specificity, while emotional meaning remains, is not random forgetting, but a systematic transformation of how memories are stored and represented. Your brain gradually extracts the essential meaning from experiences while releasing the superfluous details. Over decades, the specific moments of your life become abstracted into a more general sense of how your life has been, creating a narrative of your existence rather than a catalog of discrete events. Different cultures and societies around the world remember differently based on their narrative traditions and how they understand the self in relation to community. In individualistic societies, particularly in Western cultures, people tend to remember personal details about their own experiences, focusing on individual thoughts, feelings, and accomplishments. In collectivist societies, particularly in Asian and African cultures, autobiographical memory emphasizes social relationships and family narratives, focusing less on personal uniqueness and more on shared experiences. and social context. These differences reflect not different memory capacities, but different cultural values about what is worth remembering and how the self should be understood. Your culture teaches you what aspects of experience to encode and preserve. Your language shapes which distinctions you make when remembering. Your social context determines which memories feel meaningful and worth sharing. Memory is never a purely individual or biological phenomenon. It is profoundly cultural, reflecting the values and priorities of the community in which you grew up and continue to live. Your dreams may serve an essential function in memory maintenance, helping your brain perform nightly housekeeping on the information accumulated during your waking hours. One theory, supported by growing neuroscientific evidence, suggests that dreaming helps your brain clear out unnecessary memories and strengthen important ones. During REM sleep, when most vivid dreaming occurs, your brain appears to undergo a process of selective pruning. Weak neural connections, memories that were never strongly encoded or that lack emotional or practical significance, are weakened further and allowed to fade. Meanwhile, important memories are strengthened, their neural traces reinforced through repeated activation during dreams. In this view, dreams are not merely random neural noise, but rather an essential maintenance process that keeps your memory systems functioning optimally. The strange, surreal quality of dreams may reflect your brain's offline processing mode, where it reorganizes and consolidates information without the constraints of external reality. This nightly maintenance work, this gentle reorganization and pruning that occurs while you sleep, helps ensure that your memory systems remain efficient and accessible when you wake. When you remember seeing something, when you retrieve a visual memory from storage, the primary visual cortex of your brain, the region responsible for processing images when you see them, becomes active. Brain imaging reveals that remembering a visual scene activates nearly the same neural patterns as actually perceiving it. Your brain essentially recreates the experience, lighting up the same neural circuits that would activate if you were seeing the image in the present moment. This neural recreation of visual perception explains why visual memories can feel so vivid and lifelike. Your brain is not simply retrieving a description or a conceptual summary, it is reconstructing the visual experience itself. Yet this reconstruction is not perfect. Details are filled in, inferred, or subtly altered. The brain uses the same neural machinery to remember and perceive, which helps explain why memory and perception are so easily confused and why false visual memories can feel as real as true ones. Understanding that remembering involves recreating neural patterns reveals the profound continuity between perceiving and recalling. As you repeatedly practice a skill, as you rehearse an action or procedure over and over, something remarkable happens. The neural resources required to perform that action gradually decrease. This process, called automatization, transforms actions that once required intense concentration and deliberate attention into fluid, effortless performances. When you first learned to drive a car, every action demanded conscious attention. You concentrated on steering, on coordinating the pedals, on maintaining speed and awareness. With thousands of hours of practice, driving becomes automatic. Your mind can wander while your hands and feet perform the practice sequences with fluid grace. This transformation reflects changes in how your brain stores procedural memory. Motor sequences initially involve the prefrontal cortex, regions associated with deliberate conscious control. With practice, they come to rely more on the cerebellum and basal ganglia, structures that support automatic, implicit performance. Your brain essentially internalizes practice skills, making them part of your motor repertoire that can be executed without conscious supervision. This automatization frees your conscious attention for novel tasks while allowing practice skills to continue their essential functions. Your brain contains a region called the entorhinal cortex that appears to encode time within your memories, creating the sense that events occurred in sequence rather than as a confused jumble of simultaneous moments. This structure seems to add temporal structure to your experiences, creating a sense of before and after, of one moment flowing into the next. The entorhinal cortex works together with the hippocampus to bind together the various elements of an experience: what you saw, what you heard, how you felt, where you were, along with temporal information about when it occurred. This temporal tagging of memories allows you to construct a coherent narrative of your life as a sequence of events rather than a timeless collection of isolated moments. Without this temporal structuring, your memories would lack narrative coherence. You would not know which events preceded which other events. Your life would lack the sense of progression and continuity that allows you to understand yourself as a being moving through time. The entorhinal cortex's contribution to memory reveals how your sense of living in time is intimately connected to how your brain encodes and organizes memories. Memories become most vulnerable to distortion and alteration during a critical window in the first 24 to 48 hours after they are initially formed. During this window of vulnerability, before memories have fully consolidated into stable neural patterns, new experiences and information can interfere with or alter the original memory. This explains why eyewitness testimony given immediately after an event is often inaccurate. The memory has not yet solidified and remains susceptible to influence from subsequent experiences and suggestions. Investigators have found that merely asking leading questions, showing photographs, or providing additional information in the hours after an event can subtly alter what people remember about what they actually experienced. After approximately 48 hours, once consolidation has progressed further, memories become more resistant to interference. The vulnerability window appears to reflect the ongoing neural reorganization that occurs as memories transition from temporary hippocampus-dependent storage to more stable, cortically distributed representations. Understanding this vulnerable period reveals that memories are not fixed the moment they form, but remain malleable and subject to modification during consolidation. Your brain compresses vast amounts of information into abstract patterns during encoding, storing essential structure while releasing specific details. Rather than recording complete information, your brain extracts the underlying patterns and relationships. A conversation is not stored word for word, but rather as a pattern of ideas and emotional tone. A scene is not stored as a complete photograph, but rather as a pattern representing spatial layout and key features. A sequence of events is stored as a narrative structure rather than a collection of discrete moments. This compression makes memory storage efficient, allowing your brain to store an enormous amount of information in limited neural space. When you retrieve a memory, your brain uses these abstract patterns to reconstruct the experience, filling in details through inference and inference-based reconstruction. This explains why your memory feels complete and detailed even though you are not actually storing complete detail. It also explains why different people can remember the same event quite differently, Each person's brain compressed and reconstructed the experience according to its own particular patterns and inferences. Your memory is fundamentally an act of creative reconstruction based on stored patterns rather than retrieval of complete, objective records. There exists a profound neurological condition called anterograde amnesia, where a person loses the ability to form new, long-term memories while retaining perfect recall of everything that occurred before the injury or illness. Someone with anterograde amnesia can vividly remember their entire life up to the moment of injury, every conversation, every experience, every person they have ever known remains accessible in crystalline detail, yet they cannot form lasting memories of new experiences. Each day feels like waking into a world they do not remember entering. People they meet moments ago become strangers again, minutes later. New experiences slip away like water through open fingers, leaving no trace in long-term storage. Yet declarative memories, the facts and events they learned before their injury, remain perfectly preserved. This dissociation reveals how memory is not a unified system, but rather separable into distinct neural components, each dependent on different brain structures and capable of being damaged independently. Anterograde amnesia shows us that memory formation and memory storage are distinct processes controlled by different regions and capable of being selectively impaired. The olfactory bulb, the brain structure processing smell, maintains a direct neural pathway to the limbic system, particularly to the amygdala and hippocampus, regions essential for emotional memory and autobiographical recall. This anatomical shortcut means that odors bypass the thalamus, the brain's central relay station, and connect almost immediately to emotional and memory centers. A scent experienced decades ago can instantly transport you to a specific moment with remarkable clarity and emotional intensity. The fragrance of a particular perfume worn by someone you loved might suddenly make you feel their presence, trigger memories of conversations long forgotten, recreate emotions you thought you had released. This olfactory emotional memory connection is so powerful that a single scent can dominate your consciousness, overwhelming other thoughts and sensations. Unlike visual or auditory memories, which can feel more like observing a recording, olfactory memories often feel like you are truly experiencing the past moment again. The direct neural pathway from nose to emotional memory centers creates a unique quality of olfactory memory, making smell perhaps the most emotionally resonant and evocative of all sensory memories. As years and decades pass, your personal memories undergo a remarkable transformation. Specific episodic memories, vivid recollections of particular moments with full sensory detail, gradually become more generalized and abstract. Your first day of school, which you might have remembered as a specific Tuesday morning with particular sensations and emotions, gradually becomes abstracted into what school was like as a general category of experience. Dozens of birthday parties compress into a generic sense of childhood birthdays rather than discrete remembered events. Countless conversations with loved ones blend together into a general sense of your relationship rather than specific recalled exchanges. This progressive generalization serves a functional purpose. It allows your brain to extract patterns and meaning from your experiences rather than storing an ever-expanding catalog of discrete moments. Your memories become increasingly autobiographical and abstract, less episodic and specific. Yet this transformation also means that your sense of your own past is progressively less a record of what actually happened and increasingly a constructed narrative based on generalized patterns and meaning extracted from your experiences. The entorhinal cortex contains specialized cells called grid cells that create a kind of cognitive map organizing memories spatially and temporally as if they existed in a multidimensional landscape. These remarkable neurons fire in specific patterns that create a hexagonal grid overlaying your experience, allowing your brain to encode where and when events occurred within a mental landscape. This spatial organization of memory reveals how your brain treats memories as having location and position, not just in physical space, but in psychological and temporal space as well. Related memories cluster together in this cognitive landscape, which explains why remembering one detail often triggers memory for related information. The grid cell system essentially creates a filing system that organizes your memories by their relationships and contexts rather than storing them randomly. This spatial organization makes memories retrievable through multiple pathways. You can access a memory by thinking about the location where it occurred, the time period, or the people involved. The grid cells transform memory from a linear sequence into a multidimensional landscape where related information remains accessible through spatial navigation of your mental world. People who grow up speaking multiple languages often demonstrate enhanced memory for language structure compared to monolingual speakers. Learning multiple language systems appears to strengthen metalinguistic awareness, your ability to think about language itself as an abstract system with rules and patterns. Bilingual individuals show superior memory for grammatical structures, for recognizing when something violates language rules, and for learning new language patterns. This cognitive advantage extends beyond language into other domains involving pattern recognition and abstract rule systems. The bilingual brain, having internalized multiple language systems with different grammatical rules and vocabulary organizations, develops enhanced capacity for manipulating abstract patterns and structures. This reveals how intensive practice with a complex cognitive skill, learning to fluently use multiple language systems, leaves lasting traces in how your brain processes and remembers information generally. The bilingual advantage demonstrates that memory is not fixed, but rather shaped by experience, that the skills you practice and the knowledge you acquire literally reshape how your brain functions and what it can accomplish. The anterior cingulate cortex, a region in the frontal lobe involved in attention and decision-making, becomes active during the process of memory retrieval. This region appears to evaluate the reliability and relevance of memories before allowing them into conscious awareness. Not every memory that gets activated remains conscious. Your brain filters constantly, suppressing irrelevant memories while allowing important ones to enter awareness. The anterior cingulate cortex seems to function as a gatekeeper, assessing whether retrieved information should be trusted and attended to or dismissed as unreliable or irrelevant. This filtering system prevents your consciousness from being overwhelmed by activated memories that lack current importance. It also helps explain why certain memories remain inaccessible even though they are stored somewhere in your neural networks. Your brain's gating mechanisms may be suppressing them as irrelevant to current concerns. The role of the anterior cingulate cortex in memory retrieval reveals that consciousness does not have direct access to all stored information, but rather receives a filtered, curated selection of memories deemed relevant and reliable by unconscious neural processes. Your brain protects you from the full experience of pain by allowing painful sensations to fade more rapidly than other memories. The sensory details of pain, the sharp sting, the the burning intensity, the physical agony, seem to fade faster than memories of the pleasure or comfort associated with experiences that involved pain. Women often report that after childbirth, their memory of the intensity of pain fades more rapidly than their memory of the joy of meeting their child. People recovering from surgery often find that their memory of acute pain dulls quickly, while the experience of recovery remains vivid. This selective fading of pain appears to be an adaptive mechanism, protecting your mind from being constantly haunted by the intensity of past suffering. Yet the brain often retains emotional associations with pain. A location where you experience severe pain may still trigger anxiety and negative associations even after the sensory memory of the pain itself has largely faded. This dissociation between fading sensory memory and persistent emotional memory reveals how your brain prioritizes protecting you from psychological burden while maintaining adaptive warning about contexts associated with harm. Your childhood memories gradually become replaced by the stories you have told about your childhood, by the narratives you have constructed to explain and make sense of your early experiences. Each time you recount a childhood memory, you reinforce certain details while allowing others to fade. You gradually smooth out contradictions and inconsistencies, creating a coherent narrative. Photographs, family stories, and others' reminiscences about your childhood become incorporated into your memory, blending with your actual recollections until you cannot clearly distinguish between what you directly remember and what you have learned about your childhood from external sources. Over years and decades, your original memories of childhood experiences become progressively overlaid and replaced by these constructed narratives. The story of your childhood that you tell becomes more real to you than the actual childhood you experienced. Yet this narrative construction serves a purpose. It allows your distant past to remain meaningful and accessible, integrated into your ongoing life story rather than locked away as isolated memories. Your childhood becomes part of the narrative arc of your life, contributing to your current sense of self and identity. The corpus callosum, the massive white matter tract containing hundreds of millions of neural fibers connecting the left and right hemispheres of your brain, plays an essential role in integrating fragmented memories into coherent wholes. Memory encoding involves activation across both hemispheres. The left hemisphere processes verbal and analytical information, while the right hemisphere processes spatial, emotional, and holistic information. The corpus callosum weaves together these complementary perspectives, creating unified memories that include both analytical and intuitive components, both verbal narratives and emotional resonance. When the corpus callosum is damaged, people can show fascinating dissociations where left and right hemisphere memories seem partially separate. More commonly, the corpus callosum quietly performs its essential integrative function, binding together the different aspects of experience into memories that feel coherent and unified. This structure reminds us that your sense of having unified, integrated memories actually depends on constant communication and coordination between different brain regions, each contributing different types of processing to create the final integrated memory. Memories encoded during periods of high attention and focused concentration are more resistant to forgetting than memories formed during divided attention or passive exposure. When you deliberately focus on information, when you actively process and engage with material, your brain strengthens the synaptic connections encoding that information. Attention acts as a filter, determining which information receives the neural resources necessary for strong encoding. Information that captures your attention becomes deeply encoded, creating durable neural traces that remain accessible for years. Information encountered while your attention is divided or while you are passively exposed remains weakly encoded and becomes vulnerable to rapid forgetting. This principle explains why deliberately studying material, actively focusing on it, thinking about it, engaging with it, produces better long-term memory than passive exposure, such as reading something once without focused attention. It also reveals that memory is not determined solely by what you experience, but by how much attention and cognitive resources you allocate to processing that experience. Your conscious choice to focus your attention becomes encoded in the strength of your memories, determining what you will carry forward into your future. Over months and years following the formation of a new memory, your brain gradually consolidates that memory from the hippocampus into more distributed cortical networks. This process, called systems consolidation, is slow and patient, unfolding across an extended timeline. Initially, a new memory depends heavily on the hippocampus for its storage and retrieval. With the passage of time, particularly through repeated reactivation during sleep and waking recall, the memory becomes increasingly independent of the hippocampus. The cortex, the brain's outermost layer, where vast networks of association areas reside, gradually takes over the responsibility of storing and maintaining the memory. Eventually, well-consolidated memories can be retrieved even if the hippocampus is damaged, because they have become established in cortical networks. This gradual transfer of memory from hippocampus to cortex unfolds slowly across months and years, a patient process of reorganization that stabilizes your memories into permanent neural architecture. The very act of remembering, retrieving a memory multiple times, accelerates this consolidation process, pulling the memory into cortical storage more completely. Long after you stop actively thinking about something, your brain continues this essential work of consolidation, gradually establishing it as a permanent part of your knowledge. Emotional memories possess a remarkable durability that neutral memories simply cannot match. A memory charged with emotion, whether joy, fear, grief, or love, becomes encoded with intensity and preserved with remarkable fidelity across decades. The amygdala's involvement in tagging emotionally significant events as important creates exponentially stronger neural traces than form for emotionally neutral information. You may forget mundane details of your daily life from years ago, yet you can vividly recall emotionally charged moments from childhood with startling clarity. The intensity of emotional encoding means that traumatic memories, despite causing psychological suffering, often remain accessible in vivid detail. Pleasant emotional memories show similar durability, preserving joy and connection across the years. Even as other memories fade and become generalized, emotionally laden memories tend to retain their vividness and accessibility. This emotional enhancement of memory served evolutionary purposes. Emotions signal importance, and things that matter to survival and well-being need to be remembered clearly. Even in modern life, your emotional responses continue to guide what your brain prioritizes for long-term storage, ensuring that meaningful experiences remain accessible while trivial details fade away. Each time you retrieve a memory from storage, that memory enters a temporary state of instability called reconsolidation, where it becomes susceptible to modification before being stored again. Rather than memories being permanently fixed once consolidated, they remain dynamic and revisable. Your brain essentially takes old memories out of storage, updates them with new information and context, and stores them again. This reconsolidation process explains why your memories gradually update and change with new experiences and perspectives. It also means that memories are vulnerable to distortion during the reconsolidation window. New information encountered shortly after retrieving a memory can become incorporated into the updated memory. Therapists have begun exploring whether deliberately retrieving traumatic memories and providing new information during the reconsolidation window might allow modification of traumatic memory traces. This process also means that simply remembering something changes it slightly, integrating the current context and current knowledge into the older memory. Your memories are not fixed archives, but living, dynamic traces that continuously update and evolve, becoming progressively integrated with your current understanding of the world. The posterior cingulate cortex, located deep within your brain along the midline, becomes active during retrieval of autobiographical memories and appears central to the sense of self experiencing those memories. This region seems to be where your memories connect to your sense of personal identity, where the past becomes integrated into your ongoing sense of who you are. When you remember events from your life, when you reflect on your personal experiences and your journey through time, the posterior cingulate cortex is engaged. Damage to this region can disrupt autobiographical memory while leaving other memory functions relatively intact. The posterior cingulate cortex appears to link your distributed memories, stored across many brain regions, into a coherent sense of continuous personal identity extending through time. This structure helps create the sense that the person you were in the past and the person you are now are the same continuous being moving through time. Without this integrative function, you might have memories of events but lose the sense that those events happened to you, to a continuous self. The posterior cingulate cortex transforms memory from isolated stored information into the narrative foundation of personal identity. Memories of betrayal, of times when trust has been violated by someone you depended on, are encoded differently than memories of ordinary interpersonal events. The amygdala's threat detection systems become particularly active when processing betrayal, intensifying the encoding process and creating particularly durable emotional memories. A betrayal, once remembered, becomes resistant to fading. The details remain accessible, the emotional sting persists, the significance endures. This intense encoding of betrayal memories appears adaptive from an evolutionary perspective. Remembering who violated your trust could be crucial for survival in social groups where cooperation depends on reliable partners. Yet in modern life, this intense encoding of betrayal can become problematic, with painful memories of betrayal persisting vividly for decades, affecting your ability to trust new people and relationships. The brain's prioritization of encoding and preserving betrayal memories reveals how evolution has shaped your memory systems to prioritize information relevant to social trust and cooperation, even when that prioritization creates suffering in modern contexts where betrayal is less immediately survival threatening. The basal ganglia, a collection of neural structures deep within your brain, stores emotional memories independently of conscious awareness. You can feel inexplicably drawn to certain people or places, experience anxiety in specific contexts, or feel comfort in particular environments, without consciously remembering why you have these feelings. These emotional associations, stored in basal ganglia networks, persist even when you cannot consciously recall the experiences that created them. Someone might feel intense anxiety entering a particular type of building because the basal ganglia remember a frightening experience there, even though the person's conscious memory has no recollection of the original event. These implicit emotional memories are often more resistant to change than conscious declarative memories because they are stored in different neural systems and updated through different mechanisms. Exposure therapy for phobias works partly by creating new emotional memories in the basal ganglia through repeated safe exposure, gradually updating the implicit emotional association. The basal ganglia's role in emotional memory reveals that you are continuously influenced by emotional associations and memories that operate outside conscious awareness, shaping your responses and behaviors in ways you do not fully understand. Semantic memories, the facts and general knowledge you possess, gradually become independent of the specific experiences through which you learned them. You know that Paris is the capital of France, but you have no memory of learning this fact. You cannot recall the specific moment of learning, the circumstances, or how you came to know it. You know thousands of facts about the world without remembering anything about acquiring that knowledge. This dissociation between semantic memory and episodic memory reveals that knowing something and remembering how you came to know it are distinct processes dependent on different neural systems. Semantic memory resides in distributed cortical networks that preserve meaning and relationships among concepts. Episodic memory, the remembrance of specific experiences, involves the hippocampus and regions involved in reconstructing contextual detail. Over time, information you once learned episodically, I learned this in a particular class on a particular day, can become abstracted into semantic knowledge where the learning context is forgotten and only the knowledge remains. This transformation from episodic to semantic memory allows your brain to accumulate vast amounts of knowledge while being freed from the burden of remembering the original learning contexts. The insula cortex, a brain region involved in interoceptive processing, awareness of your internal bodily sensations, encodes memories of how your body felt during experiences. Your memories include not just what you saw and heard, but also proprioceptive and interoceptive information about how your body felt at the time. Memories of emotionally significant events often include strong bodily sensations, the racing heartbeat of fear, the warmth of comfort, the tension of stress, the relaxation of safety. These bodily sensations become woven into the fabric of memory so that retrieving the memory can partially reactivate the bodily sensations associated with it. Someone remembering a frightening experience may feel their heart rate increase, their breathing quicken, their muscles tense, not because they are currently in danger, but because the memory retrieval reactivates the insula's encoding of the original bodily state. This embodied quality of memory explains why memories feel so real and immediate. They include not just sensory information, but the felt sense of your body at the time. The insula's contribution to memory reveals that your sense of what you remember includes a whole body component, making memories multisensory and embodied rather than merely cognitive. Memory interference occurs when similar information competes for retrieval, making it difficult to access the information you want. Trying to remember your current password can, paradoxically, make it harder to retrieve because the neural patterns activated by thinking about passwords activate multiple similar patterns. Old passwords, similar words, related information. Your brain cannot easily suppress the competing patterns to isolate the specific information you need. This interference is particularly strong when old and new information are similar and when the old information was well practiced. You might struggle to remember a new phone number because your brain keeps activating the old phone number you used for years. You might struggle to recall a new password because similar old passwords keep intruding into awareness. This competition between similar memories in neural networks reveals how memory retrieval is not a simple process of accessing a specific file, but rather a process of pattern activation, where similar patterns can interfere with each other. Understanding memory interference helps explain why changing routines and learning new information can feel cognitively demanding. Your brain must actively suppress old, well-established patterns to access new information. The ventromedial prefrontal cortex integrates your memories with your current values, beliefs, and sense of what matters. When you retrieve a memory, this region appears to evaluate whether the memory is relevant to your current goals and concerns, whether it aligns with your current values, and whether it should influence your present decisions. This region essentially determines which retrieved memories will be allowed to shape your thoughts and behaviors. A memory that once felt intensely important might be retrieved, but then filtered as irrelevant if your current values have changed. A memory that contradicts your current beliefs might be retrieved, but then suppressed or reinterpreted to maintain coherence with what you currently believe about yourself and the world. The ventromedial prefrontal cortex's filtering role means that your conscious experience of memory is not simply the retrieval of stored information, but rather a curated selection of memories deemed relevant and consistent with your current identity and values. This explains why people with damage to this region sometimes show unusual patterns of memory influence on behavior. Without proper filtering and integration with current values, retrieved memories may not appropriately guide decision-making. The ventromedial prefrontal cortex reminds us that memory is not just storage and retrieval, but integration with current understanding and goals. Memories are not stored in single locations within your brain, but rather distributed across vast neural networks with different components of a single memory residing in different regions. When you remember a specific event, you are not retrieving information from one place, but rather activating a pattern of activity across multiple brain areas simultaneously. The visual details of the memory activate visual cortex regions. The emotional content activates amygdala and limbic structures. The sounds activate auditory cortex. The spatial context activates hippocampus and spatial mapping regions. The semantic meaning activates association cortices. The memory exists as a pattern of simultaneous activation across this distributed network rather than as a unified file in a single location. This distributed nature of memory means that damage to any single brain region can partially disrupt a memory while leaving other aspects relatively intact. It also means that memories can be retrieved through multiple pathways. Thinking about the location can activate the memory. Thinking about the emotion can activate it. Thinking about the people involved can activate it. Your brain's distribution of memory across networks creates both robustness and flexibility, allowing memories to survive partial damage and to be accessed through many different routes. As your brain ages, The efficiency with which it encodes new memories gradually changes, even as other memory capacities remain relatively preserved. Older adults often require more time and attention to encode new information compared to younger people. The processing speed of memory encoding slows, making it harder to quickly capture fleeting information. Yet older adults often compensate for these changes by recruiting additional brain regions during memory encoding, using more neural resources to achieve the same memory performance as younger adults. Brain imaging shows that older adults often show more diffuse and bilateral activation patterns during memory tasks, while younger adults show more focal, lateralized activation. This compensation strategy allows older adults to maintain reasonable memory function despite underlying changes in neural efficiency. The aging memory system is not simply declining, but rather reorganizing, redistributing its neural resources to maintain function despite changes in underlying processing speed and efficiency. Understanding this reorganization helps reveal that aging memory is not a simple story of decline, but rather a complex process of adaptation and compensation. Memories formed during states of high physiological arousal tend to include more perceptual detail, but paradoxically, less accurate central information. When your body is flooded with adrenaline, and your attention is narrowly focused on threat, your brain captures vivid details of peripheral sensory information, the color of walls, the texture of surfaces, the quality of light, while becoming less accurate about the central, most important information. A person witnessing a crime while in a state of fear might remember exactly what the perpetrator was wearing, but misremember their face or height. This paradoxical pattern, called weapon focus effect in the context of crimes, reveals that arousal narrows attention to survival, relevant information, while paradoxically capturing more peripheral detail. Your evolutionary adaptation to prioritize threat-related information over peripheral detail can actually create distorted memories where the least important details are clearest, while the most important are least accurate. This reveals that emotional intensity and memory vividness are not reliable indicators of memory accuracy. Memories that feel most real and vivid can sometimes be least accurate about central details. The parietal cortex, a region within the medial temporal lobe, processes the feeling of familiarity, allowing you to recognize people and places without necessarily remembering specific encounters with them. You can feel certain that you have seen someone before, even without conscious recollection of when or where. This feeling of familiarity is supported by the parietal cortex, operating somewhat independently of the hippocampus. You might encounter someone and feel an uncanny sense of recognition, yet be unable to retrieve any episodic memory of meeting them before. Conversely, you might consciously remember meeting someone numerous times, yet not feel that automatic sense of familiarity. These dissociations reveal that familiarity and episodic memory are distinct processes supported by different neural systems. The parietal cortex's role in generating feelings of familiarity allows you to navigate social and physical environments with a sense of what is known and comfortable, even without conscious memory of specific encounters. This system appears particularly important for rapid social decision-making, where you need to quickly assess whether someone or something is familiar, even without time for detailed episodic recall. Metamemory, your awareness of what you remember and what you forget. Your ability to predict whether you will remember something in the future relies on the prefrontal cortex. You can often predict before attempting retrieval whether you will remember something. You know whether a particular name will come to you or whether you have forgotten it. You can sometimes predict which studied material you will remember on an exam and which you will forget. This metacognitive ability, thinking about your own thinking and remembering, allows you to allocate study resources efficiently and to have realistic confidence in your memory abilities. Yet metamemory is not perfectly accurate. Sometimes you feel confident you will remember something, but then forget it, or you feel uncertain, but then accurately recall. The prefrontal cortex appears to generate these meta-memory judgments based on various cues, including the ease or difficulty with which information comes to mind. Understanding meta-memory reveals that you are not passively subject to your memory, but can develop some awareness and control over memory processes, even though this metacognitive ability has limitations. Remembering a place activates navigation-related brain regions even when you are physically stationary, unable to move through space. When you retrieve memories of places you have been, when you think about your childhood home or a familiar city, brain regions involved in spatial navigation and mental mapping become active. Your brain essentially simulates navigating through the remembered space, activating the same neural systems that would activate if you were actually moving through that environment. This neural simulation of spatial navigation appears fundamental to how spatial memories are organized and retrieved. The hippocampus and related structures that normally track your current location and create cognitive maps of actual space can repurpose themselves for mental navigation through remembered spaces. This capacity for mental spatial navigation reveals that your brain does not merely store descriptions of places, but rather creates navigable mental maps that can be explored imaginatively. The sense of mentally walking through a remembered location reflects genuine neural simulation of spatial navigation, showing how memory engages the same systems used for real-time perception and movement. The amygdala adds emotional valence to memories during the consolidation process, gradually infusing neutral details with emotional coloring. Immediately after an event, many details of the experience remain emotionally neutral. Over the following hours and days, as consolidation proceeds and the amygdala's influence spreads through memory networks, these neutral details gradually become emotionally tinted. A neutral detail from an emotional event, the color of a wall, the pattern of fabric, the position of furniture, gradually becomes associated with the emotional quality of the overall experience. This progressive emotional coloring of memories means that initially, neutral aspects of traumatic events can eventually trigger emotional responses through their association with the trauma. It also means that your memory of past events becomes progressively more emotionally saturated as time passes and consolidation proceeds. Neutral elements that you witnessed during an important event gradually become emotionally significant through their association with the emotional core of the memory. This emotional coloring explains why seemingly insignificant details of important events can trigger strong emotional responses years later. Verbal memories, words, and language-based information rely preferentially on left hemisphere language regions and associated networks, spatial memories, information about locations and spatial relationships engage right hemisphere mapping systems and spatial processing regions. The brain asymmetrically distributes different types of processing, with language functions concentrated in the left hemisphere and spatial functions in the right. This hemispheric specialization means that different types of memory are vulnerable to different kinds of brain damage. Damage to left hemisphere language areas can impair memory for verbal information while leaving spatial memory relatively intact. Conversely, Right hemisphere damage can disrupt spatial memory while leaving verbal memory relatively preserved. This asymmetric organization of memory reveals that your brain processes different types of information through specialized systems, each with characteristic strengths and vulnerabilities. Understanding these distinctions helps clarify why different people might have different memory strengths. Someone with stronger left hemisphere language processing might excel at remembering conversations and verbal information, while someone with stronger spatial processing might excel at remembering locations and spatial relationships. Memories can be partially retrieved through indirect methods even when direct conscious recall fails completely. Priming, where exposure to related information makes retrieval of other information easier, demonstrates that forgotten information remains stored in neural networks even when you cannot consciously access it. You might be unable to consciously remember a particular word, yet if you are primed with related words, you suddenly recall it easily. You might forget a person's name despite trying hard to retrieve it, yet if someone mentions a related name, the correct name suddenly comes to mind. This indirect route to memory reveals that forgetting is not the same as erasure. Information can remain stored while becoming inaccessible through direct retrieval routes. The brain appears to maintain multiple pathways to stored information, so that when direct retrieval fails, indirect priming or contextual cues can activate the information. Understanding memory. Accessibility reveals that what you consciously remember is only a fraction of what your brain has actually stored, and that forgotten information may be merely inaccessible rather than truly lost. The locus coeruleus, a small but widely projecting region in your brainstem, releases norepinephrine during surprising or novel experiences, creating a neurochemical signal that essentially marks unexpected events as memorable. When something deviates from your expectations, when you encounter novelty or surprise, the locus coeruleus floods your brain with norepinephrine. This neurochemical surge appears to enhance attention and to signal to memory systems that the current experience warrants strong encoding. Unexpected events, precisely because they violate your predictions and trigger norepinephrine release, become more memorable than expected events. This mechanism helps explain why surprising moments stand out in memory while routine, predictable occurrences blur together. Your brain has evolved to prioritize encoding unexpected information because surprises often carry important information. Something in your environment has changed in a way you did not predict, which may be important for survival or well-being. Even in modern life, your brain continues to use surprise as a signal of memory importance, ensuring that novel experiences receive priority encoding, while routine experiences fade into the background. Social memory, the ability to remember information about other people, their thoughts, feelings, intentions, and personalities, engages the medial prefrontal cortex preferentially, revealing how your brain dedicates specialized neural resources to encoding and retrieving information about others. When you remember details about someone's character, their preferences, their past experiences, the medial prefrontal cortex becomes active in ways distinct from how it responds when you remember impersonal information. Your brain treats social information as special, worthy of dedicated neural machinery. This social specialization makes adaptive sense. In human societies, remembering information about other people's thoughts and intentions is crucial for navigating complex social relationships and predicting others' behaviors. The medial prefrontal cortex role in social memory reveals how your brain prioritizes social information, dedicating neural resources to the remembrance of people, and their characteristics. Even when you are not consciously attending to social information, your brain is automatically encoding details about the people around you, building memory traces that will guide your future social interactions and relationships. Memories of reading about events can, over sufficient time, become indistinguishable from memories of directly experiencing those events. After years have passed, you might remember learning about a historical event, but the boundary between what you read and what you experience directly becomes blurred. The brain conflates different sources of information, gradually losing track of whether knowledge came from direct experience or from secondary sources like reading, conversation, or media. A vivid news report or detailed account of an event can create a memory so rich and detailed that it feels like personal experience. Your brain integrates information from all sources into a unified knowledge base, and over time, the distinction between first-hand and second-hand knowledge can dissolve. This source confusion reveals that your sense of what you know is not always accompanied by clear awareness of how you came to know it. You might feel certain you remember something from personal experience when actually you are remembering a story you heard or a description you read. This blurring of sources over time means that your personal narrative gradually incorporates information that technically came from outside your direct experience. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex supports working memory, the ability to hold information temporarily available for current cognitive use. This region acts like your mind's notepad, maintaining information only while you actively need it for current tasks. When you try to remember a phone number long enough to dial it, when you hold instructions in mind while following them, when you manipulate information mentally while solving a problem, your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is engaged in maintaining that temporary representation. Working memory has strict capacity limits. You can typically hold only about 7 pieces of information simultaneously, and this capacity is easily overwhelmed. Information in working memory is highly vulnerable to disruption and fades rapidly when attention is diverted. This contrasts sharply with a long-term memory, which has vast capacity and persistence. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex's working memory function reveals how your brain maintains different types of temporary and permanent storage, with different capacities, different durations, and different vulnerabilities to disruption. Emotional congruence influences which memories become accessible during retrieval, with your current emotional state influencing what you remember. When you are happy, memories of happy events come more readily to mind. When you are sad, sad memories become more accessible. When you are anxious, you more easily retrieve memories tinged with worry and fear. This mood-congruent memory effect means that your emotional state acts as a filter on memory retrieval, making emotionally matching memories more accessible, while emotionally discordant memories remain relatively suppressed. This creates feedback loops where sadness triggers sad memories, which deepen sadness, which makes more sad memories accessible. Understanding this mood-congruent memory retrieval reveals how your emotional state and your memories interact bidirectionally. Not only do past emotional experiences shape your current mood, but your current mood shapes what you remember of your past. This principle has implications for therapy and mental health, suggesting that shifting your emotional state, or deliberately retrieving emotionally discordant memories, might help break cycles of mood-congruent thinking. The retrosplenial cortex connects your contextual memory, memories of where you were and what surrounded you, with self-referential processing, helping integrate your personal history into a continuous narrative of identity. This region appears central to weaving together the specific contexts and episodes of your life into a coherent sense of self that persists through time. When you remember where you have been and what you have experienced, the retrosplenial cortex helps maintain the sense that these experiences belong to a continuous you moving through time and space. Damage to this region can disrupt the sense of autobiographical continuity, leaving people unable to maintain a coherent narrative thread connecting their past to their present identity. The retrosplenial cortex's role reveals how memory is not just about storing information, but about maintaining narrative continuity and personal identity. Your sense of being a continuous self moving through time depends on neural structures that link contextual memory with self-referential processing, creating the autobiography that defines who you are. Memories of trauma can fragment into emotional and factual components that are processed and stored separately. Traumatic memories often lack coherent verbal narrative, existing instead as powerful emotional sensations, fragmented sensory details, and bodily reactions disconnected from conscious understanding. Someone with traumatic memories might feel intense fear in response to sensory cues, a smell or sound, without being able to consciously remember or articulate the original traumatic event. The emotional and factual aspects of trauma become dissociated, stored in different neural systems. The amygdala holds the emotional charge, creating strong emotional responses. The sensory cortices hold fragmented perceptual details, yet the hippocampus and language regions fail to integrate these fragments into a coherent, narratable memory. This fragmentation of traumatic memory reveals how extreme emotional intensity can disrupt the normal integrative processes that bind memories together. Understanding this fragmentation has implications for trauma therapy, helping trauma survivors integrate fragmented memories into coherent narratives. Connecting emotional experience with factual understanding appears therapeutic. The role of sleep spindles in memory consolidation remains partially mysterious despite decades of research, with these brief bursts of brain activity during sleep appearing essential for transferring information into long-term storage. Sleep spindles are brief, high-frequency bursts of neural activity that occur during non-REM sleep, particularly during stage 2 sleep. These spindles appear to mark moments when the hippocampus is replaying recent experiences for the cortex, tutoring cortical networks on newly acquired information. The number and quality of sleep spindles correlates with how much learning has occurred and with how well information will be remembered. Yet the precise mechanisms through which spindles facilitate memory consolidation remain incompletely understood. Different brain regions appear to generate spindles through different neural circuits, and spindles appear to serve different functions in different stages of sleep. This ongoing mystery of sleep spindles reminds us that despite decades of memory research, fundamental mechanisms remain incompletely understood. The brain's capacity to consolidate memory during sleep continues to hold secrets, suggesting that memory science still has much to discover. Memories gradually lose their emotional intensity while retaining their factual and narrative content as decades pass. A memory of profound loss, of overwhelming grief, of deep anguish can retain its basic narrative structure, while the accompanying emotional intensity softens. You can remember that something was terribly important and emotionally significant while the actual feeling of the emotion fades. This dissociation between the narrative and emotional components of memory appears adaptive. It allows you to learn from past emotional experiences without being continuously overwhelmed by their emotional impact. The factual lessons learned from emotional experiences persist, while the emotional charge gradually attenuates. Yet the slowing of emotional intensity does not erase the memory entirely. Years later, certain contextual cues can reignite emotional intensity associated with old memories, showing that the emotional trace remains present even as it becomes less immediately accessible. This gradual emotional attenuation, while factual memory persists, reveals the complexity of how emotional and factual memory components interact over time. The brain's memory systems show remarkable redundancy and overlap, providing resilience against damage and ensuring that memories can survive even when specific brain regions are injured. Multiple pathways encode similar information, and different brain regions can partially compensate for damage to other regions. If the hippocampus is damaged early in life, other brain regions can develop enhanced capacity to compensate for the missing function. If one hemisphere is damaged, the other can often assume some of its responsibilities. This redundancy appears evolutionarily wise. A system as important as memory should not depend on single structures. The cost of this redundancy is efficiency. The brain uses more neural resources than minimally necessary to store information. The benefit is robustness. Memories can be preserved even through partial brain injury or disease. Understanding memory's redundancy reveals why memory loss from disease or injury is often partial rather than total. Undamaged neural pathways can often continue supporting at least some aspect of memory function even after significant brain damage. Memories are vulnerable to disruption during a critical window after their retrieval, when they temporarily destabilize before reconsolidating into storage. After you retrieve a memory and bring it into consciousness, that memory enters a labile state where it can be modified or disrupted. During the first few hours after retrieval, new experiences or information presented to you can interfere with reconsolidation, subtly altering the memory. This reconsolidation window represents an opportunity for memory modification, but also a vulnerability. Each time you retrieve a memory, you are potentially modifying it through the reconsolidation process. This vulnerability window explains why eyewitness testimony can be unreliable. The act of being questioned about a memory can alter the memory itself. It also reveals why repeated retrievals of memories, while sometimes strengthening them, can also gradually alter them through accumulated reconsolidation changes. Understanding the reconsolidation window shows that memory is not safely locked away, but rather remains dynamic and open to modification every time you retrieve it. Different neurotransmitter systems support different aspects of memory function, each contributing specialized chemical signaling that enables particular types of remembering. Dopamine enhances the formation and retrieval of memories related to motivation, reward, and goal-directed behavior, making rewarding experiences more memorable while enhancing memory for information associated with positive outcomes. Acetylcholine, released by the basal forebrain, supports learning and attention, facilitating memory encoding during periods of focused concentration. Glutamate, the primary excitatory neurotransmitter, enables synaptic strengthening through a process called long-term potentiation, which is fundamental to how memories are physically encoded in neural tissue. GABA provides inhibitory balance, preventing excessive neural activity that could disrupt memory processes. Norepinephrine, released during arousal and attention, enhances the encoding of significant information. Serotonin influences mood and emotional memory. These neurotransmitter systems work in concert, each contributing particular neurochemical influences that shape what gets remembered and how memories are processed. The diversity of neurotransmitter involvement in memory reveals how remembering engages multiple chemical systems, each fine-tuning different aspects of memory through specialized signaling. Memories gradually become progressively more abstract and less episodic as time passes, with the specific sensory details of experiences fading while essential meanings persist. A memory of a significant conversation from decades ago does not retain the precise intonation of voices or exact wording, but rather the gist and meaning of what was communicated. A memory of a place you visited long ago loses specific details of what you saw, but retains your sense of the atmosphere and feeling of being there. This progressive abstraction of memory over time serves a functional purpose. It prevents your brain from becoming overwhelmed by accumulated specific details while preserving the meaningful essence of experiences. The abstracted, generalized form of old memories makes them more relevant to your current life as they contribute to general knowledge and understanding rather than being tied to specific historical contexts. Yet this abstraction means your memories of the distant past are increasingly reconstructions and interpretations rather than faithful records of what occurred, creating a narrative of your life that is meaningful but not necessarily historically accurate. The brain's capacity for long-term memory appears essentially unlimited, capable of storing vast amounts of information throughout your lifetime without saturation or reaching a storage limit. While working memory has strict limits of about 7 items, and attention has finite capacity, long-term memory seems to expand throughout life. People who study extensively accumulate enormous amounts of semantic knowledge without apparent limit. People with long lives accumulate decades of episodic memories without loss of earlier memories due to storage overflow. Unlike a computer hard drive with finite storage capacity, the brain's memory appears to have open-ended capacity. Researchers propose that this unlimited capacity arises from the brain's use of distributed, interconnected networks. The more you learn, the more connections form, and the more the network can expand to accommodate new information. This remarkable capacity for growth and expansion of long-term memory throughout life contrasts with limitations in other cognitive capacities, suggesting that memory storage was evolutionarily prioritized for expansion and growth. Memories of personal accomplishments engage your brain's reward systems differently than memories of failures, with successful outcomes receiving preferential neural encoding and consolidation. When you remember an achievement, when you retrieve a memory of successfully completing something difficult, brain regions involved in reward processing become active. These same regions are active when you anticipate or experience actual rewards. Your brain appears to code successful memories as rewarding, which enhances their encoding and makes them more accessible for future retrieval. Memories of failures, by contrast, do not activate reward systems as strongly, yet they leave durable traces because they activate emotional systems associated with avoidance and learning from mistakes. This differential encoding of success and failure means that your brain is biased toward remembering and emphasizing your accomplishments while somewhat minimizing your failures. Yet failures also leave distinct traces, ensuring that you learn from mistakes. This balance between preferential encoding of success and necessary encoding of failure reveals how your memory systems are shaped by evolutionary pressures to both enhance self-confidence and to promote learning from errors. The vestibular system, which maintains your sense of balance and detects motion, contributes to spatial memory through encoding your movement through space. When you move through an environment, your vestibular system continuously tracks your position and orientation, providing proprioceptive and kinesthetic information about your body's location and motion. This movement information becomes woven into your memories of places and experiences. Remembering a location involves not just visual information, but also implicit knowledge of how it felt to move through that space. Your sense of a place includes information about how you moved through it, what directions you traveled, how your body positioned itself. The vestibular system's contribution to memory reveals how memory is fundamentally embodied. Remembering involves recreating not just sensory perceptions, but also the felt sense of your body moving through the environment. This embodied quality of spatial memory helps explain why spatial memories feel particularly vivid and immediate, incorporating whole body information rather than just visual details. Memories of conversations are rarely verbatim records of what was actually said, instead preserving the gist and emotional tone while largely forgetting exact wording. You may remember that someone expressed concern about something that mattered to you, but you rarely remember their exact words. You may remember the general point someone made, but not how they phrased it. This gist-based encoding of language makes functional sense. Exact wording is often less important than the underlying meaning and emotional context. Your brain efficiently compresses linguistic information, storing the meaning conveyed rather than exact words. This compression allows vast amounts of conversational information to be stored with limited neural resources. Yet it also means that your memory of what someone said is susceptible to bias. You remember the gist as filtered through your interpretation and current understanding. Two people present for the same conversation often remember quite different meanings from what was said, each reconstructing the conversation's gist according to their own interpretive frameworks. Different types of forgetting occur at different rates, with perceptual details fading rapidly, while emotional meaning and narrative structure persist for decades. Sensory details, the exact shade of color, the precise sound quality, the specific tactile sensation, decay quickly, often within hours or days of an experience. The specific words spoken fade within days. The spatial layout of a location becomes generalized within weeks or months. Yet the emotional significance of an experience, the general narrative of what happened, the meaning it holds in your life, can persist for decades. This differential decay rate means that old memories become progressively more emotional and less detailed as time passes. Your memory of an experience shifts from detailed sensory impression to abstracted emotional narrative. This pattern appears adaptive. You retain the important meaning while releasing the dispensable details. The rapid decay of sensory detail prevents your mind from drowning in unnecessary specifics, while the persistence of emotional meaning preserves the lessons and insights gained from experience. The brain prioritizes social and emotional memories during consolidation, allocating preferential neural resources to storing information involving other people and strong emotional significance. When you are learning information, memories related to people, social interactions, and emotionally meaningful events receive enhanced encoding and stronger consolidation than impersonal or emotionally neutral information. Your brain treats social and emotional information as inherently important, worthy of priority processing. During sleep, when memory consolidation is particularly active, Socially and emotionally significant memories receive priority. They are more likely to be replayed and strengthened. This prioritization reflects evolutionary history, where social information was crucial for survival in group living ancestors. Modern brains continue this ancient prioritization, automatically treating social and emotional information as worthy of memory resources. This prioritization means that even without conscious effort, you will tend to remember people and emotionally significant events better than impersonal facts, revealing how your memory system is shaped by evolutionary pressures towards social survival. Memories are reconstructed from multiple neural sources each time they are retrieved, with your subjective sense of remembering a unified experience actually involving the brain reassembling components from distributed locations. When you remember something, you do not activate a single unified memory trace, but rather activate patterns across multiple brain regions simultaneously. The visual aspects activate visual cortex. The emotional aspects activate amygdala and limbic regions. The narrative structure activates language areas. The spatial context activates hippocampus and spatial regions. Your brain then binds these distributed components together into a coherent conscious experience of remembering. This binding process happens so seamlessly that you experience memory as unified and coherent, yet the underlying process involves assembling fragments from multiple sources. The binding can sometimes fail, creating dissociated memories where different components remain separated. It can sometimes bind incorrectly, creating false memories where components from different experiences get combined. Understanding that memory retrieval involves reconstructing memories from distributed components reveals the remarkable complexity underlying the seemingly simple act of remembering. The cerebellum contributes to the timing of memories, encoding information about duration and rhythm, allowing you to remember not just what happened, but also how long it lasted and when it occurred. When you remember an experience, that memory includes implicit temporal information about its duration. You remember roughly how long a conversation lasted, how long you waited, how long an activity took. You remember rhythmic patterns associated with experiences, the pace of a particular piece of music, the rhythm of a familiar routine. This temporal information, encoded by cerebellar systems, becomes part of your memory and can influence your behavior and expectations. The cerebellum's timing function reveals how memory includes not just what and where, but also when and how long, creating temporally structured memories. This temporal structuring of memory helps organize your experiences into sequences and rhythms, contributing to your sense of time flowing and experiences following a temporal order. The cerebellum's role in memory reminds us that temporal information is woven throughout memory, helping create the sense of your life as a sequence of experiences moving through time. Memories of future plans and imagined scenarios activate similar neural networks as autobiographical memories of past experiences, revealing how your brain uses memory systems to simulate possible futures. When you imagine yourself doing something tomorrow, when you plan for next year, when you fantasize about possibilities, the medial prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, and other regions involved in autobiographical memory become active. Your brain appears to use the same neural machinery that reconstructs your past to imagine and plan your future. This overlap between past memory and future imagination reveals that memory systems do more than preserve what has happened. They also enable simulation of what might happen. People with damage to memory systems often struggle not just with remembering the past, but also with imagining and planning for the future, suggesting these capacities are fundamentally linked. Understanding that memory serves both past and future reveals how remembering is not merely backward-looking, but also supports forward-looking imagination and planning, helping you navigate anticipated futures as memory helps you navigate your actual past. The brain's sensory cortices retain information about unattended stimuli during encoding, preserving details you were not consciously noticing at the time. Even when you are focused on one aspect of an experience, your brain is encoding information from peripheral perception and unattended sensory channels. Information you are not deliberately attending to becomes stored in your neural networks. Under certain conditions, through hypnosis, through indirect retrieval methods, or through priming, this unattended information can sometimes be accessed, suggesting it was encoded but remained inaccessible to conscious awareness. This hidden encoding of unattended information reveals that your conscious attention captures only a fraction of what your brain actually encodes. Your brain continuously processes far more information than reaches consciousness, with much of this information being stored in neural networks even though you never consciously experienced it. Understanding that memory extends beyond conscious experience reminds us that we are continuously influenced by information we did not knowingly perceive, and that memories can exist outside conscious awareness. Memories gradually become more resistant to interference from new learning as they consolidate and age, with well-established memories showing remarkable stability in the face of potentially competing new information. A memory stored for years or decades is much less likely to be disrupted by learning similar new information than a memory formed just hours before. An old, well-consolidated memory of a phone number you used for years remains relatively stable even when you learn a new phone number. Yet a newly formed memory of a new password can easily be disrupted by learning another similar password. This progressive resistance to interference appears to reflect the gradual transition from hippocampus-dependent to cortically distributed storage. Newly formed hippocampus-dependent memories remain vulnerable to interference because they depend on a single neural region. Well-consolidated, cortically distributed memories are more resilient because they are represented across multiple regions and connected through multiple pathways. Understanding how memory resistance to interference develops with time and consolidation reveals how the brain progressively protects important information from disruption through the consolidation process. The orbitofrontal cortex encodes the value and desirability associated with remembered experiences, allowing your memories to include implicit information about whether past events were rewarding or punishing. When you remember an experience, that memory includes not just objective information about what happened, but also your brain's encoding of whether the experience was good or bad, desirable or undesirable. This value encoding allows memories to directly influence your future behavior and choices. You approach situations similar to rewarding past experiences and avoid situations similar to punishing ones. The orbitofrontal cortex's role in encoding value means that your memories are not neutral records of objective events, but rather include your brain's evaluation of their worth. Different people can remember the same event quite differently because their orbitofrontal cortex encoded different values based on their different experiences and preferences. Understanding that memories include value encoding reveals how your past experiences do not just inform you about what happened, but also influence your future choices through encoded evaluations of whether past outcomes were desirable. Memories of people's voices are stored and retrieved through neural systems somewhat independent of semantic knowledge about those people, allowing you to remember how someone sounded without remembering facts about them. You can recognize a friend's voice with certainty despite forgetting details about their life. Conversely, you might remember facts about someone without being able to recall their voice. Voice memories appear to involve auditory cortex regions distinct from regions supporting semantic knowledge about people. This modularity of memory means that different aspects of knowledge about a person, their appearance, their voice, facts about them, your emotional associations with them, can be affected independently by brain damage or disease. Someone with a particular type of dementia might lose semantic knowledge about people while retaining voice recognition, or vice versa. Understanding that voice memories are relatively independent from other types of person knowledge reveals how memory is composed of modular components that can dissociate from each other. The brain's memory systems show natural fluctuations in efficiency and accessibility across the daily cycle, with memory performance peaking during your chronotype's optimal hours and declining progressively until sleep restores function. If you are a morning person, your memory performs best in early hours and declines through the day. If you are a night person, your memory shows the opposite pattern, peaking in evening hours. These circadian fluctuations in memory reflect underlying variations in neurotransmitter levels, brain temperature, and other physiological factors that cycle across the day. Your memory does not function at constant capacity, but rather waxes and wanes with your daily biological rhythms. Understanding these natural fluctuations reveals that memory performance depends not just on cognitive effort, but also on circadian timing. Attempting to memorize something during your suboptimal hours will be less efficient than attempting during your peak hours. This principle has practical implications for studying and learning. Aligning learning with your chronotype's optimal times enhances memory encoding and retention. Memories show patterns of spontaneous reactivation during rest and quiet mind wandering, with your brain automatically revisiting recent experiences during idle moments. When you are not focused on external tasks, when you allow your mind to wander, your brain spontaneously reactivates memories of recent experiences. This spontaneous replay appears to support memory consolidation and integration. During these idle moments, your brain is reorganizing and consolidating recent experiences. The default mode, network that activates during mind wandering, appears to be engaged in this spontaneous memory reactivation. This process continues even without deliberate effort to remember. Your brain automatically rehearses recent experiences during idle moments. This spontaneous reactivation may explain why taking breaks from studying, allowing your mind to wander, can actually enhance long-term memory. The brain uses these idle periods for consolidation work that strengthens memories. Understanding that memory consolidation occurs during rest and mind wandering reveals that remembering is not just an active, deliberate process, but also happens through passive, automatic neural processes that work quietly while you are not focused on external tasks. Different life experiences create distinctly different memory profiles and retrieval patterns, with individual differences in memory reflecting each person's unique history of experiences and practice. A musician's memory for music is enhanced compared to non-musicians, reflecting years of practice and engagement with musical information. A visual artist's memory for visual details exceeds that of non-artists. A multilingual speaker's memory differs from a monolingual speaker's in systematic ways reflecting their experience with multiple language systems. Athletes develop enhanced memory for motor patterns and spatial relationships in their sports. These experience-dependent differences reveal that memory is not a fixed capacity, but rather shaped by practice and experience. Your brain's memory systems adapt to the types of information you regularly process and the skills you regularly practice. This plasticity of memory, this capacity for experience to reshape how your brain encodes and retrieves information, reveals that you are not born with predetermined memory abilities, but rather develop your memory profile through your unique path of experiences and practices. Memories exist on a spectrum from precise to gist-like, rather than as clear categories of either accurate or false, with most memories somewhere between photographic clarity and vague impression. Rather than memories being either perfectly accurate or completely false, they vary continuously in their precision and accuracy. Some aspects of a memory might be encoded with remarkable precision. You remember exactly where you were sitting when you heard important news. Other aspects might be quite vague. You have only a general sense of how the room looked. Still, other aspects might be reconstructed or inferred rather than actually remembered. This spectrum of precision within memories means that assessing memory accuracy cannot be reduced to simple judgments of right or wrong, but requires evaluating which aspects are precise and which are approximate. A memory can be partially accurate in some respects, while being quite inaccurate in others. Understanding memory as existing on a spectrum rather than in categories reveals the nuanced reality of how remembering actually works. Most memories are mixtures of accurate detail, vague impression, and reconstructed inference. The brain's mirror neuron system contributes to memory for observed actions, with watching someone perform an action activating your own motor memories of similar actions. When you observe someone doing something, your brain simulates that action in motor regions, activating the same neural patterns that would activate if you were performing the action yourself. This motor simulation appears to facilitate memory for observed actions. You remember actions better when they engage your own motor system through mirror neuron activation. A dancer observing another dancer activates richer motor memories than a non-dancer would, because the observer's motor experience allows mirror neuron activation. This embodied simulation of observed actions reveals that memory is not purely perceptual, but involves motor engagement with what you observe. Your memories of others' actions include implicit motor information about how those actions feel when performed. Understanding the mirror neuron system's role in memory reveals how observing others engages your own motor systems, creating embodied memories of actions you have not performed but can simulate through mirror neuron activation. Memories paradoxically show patterns where confidence in memory and actual accuracy diverge, particularly for emotionally salient experiences where feeling and fact separate. You might feel absolutely certain about a memory, experiencing it with vivid clarity and emotional intensity, yet that memory might be inaccurate in important ways. Conversely, you might remember something with less confidence and less vivid detail, yet that memory might be more accurate. This dissociation between confidence and accuracy reveals that subjective certainty is not a reliable guide to memory accuracy. Emotional intensity enhances both memory and confidence, but emotional intensity can also lead to distorted encoding that prioritizes emotional gist over factual accuracy. memories that feel most real and vivid can sometimes be least accurate about peripheral details or central information. Understanding that confidence and accuracy diverge reminds us that we cannot rely on how a memory feels to judge its accuracy. A vividly remembered experience might be a false memory, while an uncertainly remembered detail might be true. The feeling of remembering is not trustworthy evidence of what actually occurred. The brain's memory systems interleave past experiences, gradually extracting patterns and abstract knowledge from individual episodes. Rather than storing each experience as a separate, discrete memory, your brain continuously works to identify patterns across experiences. As you encounter similar situations repeatedly, your brain extracts commonalities and creates schemas, general knowledge structures that represent typical patterns. Individual birthday parties from your childhood gradually contribute to a general schema of what birthday parties are like. Specific conversations with friends gradually contribute to general knowledge about your relationships. This pattern extraction happens automatically and continuously as you experience the world. The extracted patterns and schemas become more useful and accessible than the specific episodes that created them, allowing efficient storage of generalized knowledge. Over time, the specific memories fade while the schemas persist, leaving you with general knowledge about categories of experience rather than detailed memories of specific instances. This process of pattern extraction and schema formation reveals how memory serves not just to preserve individual experiences, but to extract and organize general knowledge about the world. The brain's memory capacity appears essentially unlimited across the lifespan, with no evidence of a saturation point where memory storage becomes full and new learning must displace old memories. Even very old people with decades of accumulated memories continue to encode new information, suggesting the brain's storage capacity does not fill up. Research on exceptional memorizers and people with extensive knowledge in particular domains shows that learning more information does not degrade access to previously learned information. The brain does not work like a computer hard drive with finite storage space. Instead, memory networks appear to expand and reorganize as more information accumulates, incorporating new information into existing networks without requiring deletion of old information. This unlimited capacity for long-term memory throughout life reveals how the brain is specially designed for memory expansion. Unlike other cognitive capacities that often decline with age, memory storage capacity appears to remain open to growth throughout life, allowing continuous accumulation of knowledge and experience across the lifespan. Memories form the narrative backbone of personal identity, gradually evolving as new experiences integrate into your ongoing life story. Your sense of who you are depends fundamentally on memory. Memory of your past experiences, relationships, accomplishments, and struggles. Without memory, you would have no continuous sense of self, no autobiographical narrative connecting your present to your past. As you accumulate new experiences, these become integrated into your existing narrative, gradually reshaping your sense of who you are. You are not the same person you were 10 years ago, partly because your memories have changed. Experiences that felt insignificant at the time gradually reveal their importance as they are integrated into your broader life narrative. Experiences that felt overwhelming at the time gradually shrink to their proper perspective as they are contextualized within your full life story. Your memory constantly revises and updates your sense of self, creating a dynamic autobiography that evolves with new understanding and new experiences. Memory is not just about preserving the past. It is fundamentally about constructing and maintaining the narrative sense of continuous identity that allows you to experience yourself as a coherent self persisting through time. Different brain regions show different time constants for memory decay, with sensory memory fading in seconds, working memory in minutes, and semantic memory persisting across decades or even centuries of human cultural knowledge. Your brain implements memory at multiple timescales simultaneously, with short-term buffers for immediately relevant information and long-term stores for information that will be useful across months and years. Sensory memory, the fleeting impression of sensory information, decays within seconds unless attention is directed toward it. Working memory, information held in mind for current use, persists for minutes at most, if not rehearsed. Episodic memory, specific experiences, typically fades substantially over months and years, while core meanings persist. Semantic memory, facts, and general knowledge can persist for decades and becomes part of human cultural knowledge that persists across generations. These different timescales reveal how your brain has evolved multiple memory systems, each optimized for storing information relevant to particular timescales of human life and activity. The cascade of decay from seconds to decades shows how memory operates at nested timescales, each appropriate to different types of information and different time horizons of human concern. Memories are tagged with contextual information, including location, time, and accompanying emotions, creating richly interconnected memory networks where related information can spread activation and facilitate retrieval. Your memories do not exist in isolation but are interconnected through multiple associations. A memory of a place includes emotional information about how you felt there, temporal information about when it occurred, social information about who was present. These contextual associations create multiple pathways for memory retrieval. You can access a memory by thinking about the location, the people involved, the emotion felt, or the time period. This rich contextual tagging and interconnection of memories reveals how memory is fundamentally relational. Each memory is connected to many others through associations. These associations allow spreading activation, where retrieving one memory partially activates related memories, making them more accessible. This interconnection makes your memory system both robust and flexible, allowing memories to be accessed through multiple routes and enabling generalization across similar experiences. The contextual tagging of memories creates what might be called a web of remembering, where each memory is connected to many others through associations. Memories of reading about others' experiences gradually become incorporated into personal memory systems, with the boundary between first-hand memory and knowledge about events dissolving as the brain integrates all information. After you read about a historical event in detail, hear about someone's personal experience, or watch a documentary about something, this information becomes incorporated into your knowledge. Over time, if you never directly experience the events but have encountered rich descriptions of them, your brain may process them similarly to first-hand memories. The distinction between what you directly experienced and what you learned about becomes blurred. You might feel certain you witnessed an event when actually you saw photographs or read detailed accounts. Your brain does not keep sharp boundaries between different sources of information, but gradually integrates them into unified knowledge. This source confusion reveals that your sense of what you know does not necessarily reflect clear awareness of how you came to know it. Information from reading becomes part of your stored knowledge with similar accessibility as information from direct experience, particularly when the descriptions are vivid and detailed. Memories show natural patterns where events from childhood and recent past are overrepresented compared to middle-aged years, creating the reminiscence bump where memory peaks around ages 15 to 25. When older adults are asked to recall their most significant memories, their most meaningful experiences, their most vivid recollections, these tend to cluster around late adolescence and early adulthood. The years between 30 and 50, the middle years of adult life, seem less memorable in retrospect, despite being filled with experiences. This reminiscence bump appears consistent across cultures and across different types of memory tasks. Several explanations have been proposed. These years are identity-forming years when you first develop your adult sense of self. These years typically involve major life transitions and novel experiences. Biological factors in the teenage brain may facilitate emotional encoding. Whatever the causes, the reminiscence bump reveals that memory is not uniformly distributed across the lifespan, but rather shows predictable peaks and valleys reflecting both the nature of experiences at different life stages and how memories are encoded and consolidated. The totality of human memory, preserved across billions of brains, represents the accumulated experience of our species slowly encoding wisdom, patterns, and understanding into knowledge that shapes future generations. Every memory formed, every experience remembered, every lesson learned becomes part of the vast collective memory of humanity. Through language and culture, through writing and art, through teaching and tradition, human memories are transmitted across generations. Children learn from the accumulated experience of their ancestors, encoded in cultural knowledge, and transmitted through education. Scientific knowledge represents centuries of accumulated observation and understanding, stored partly in individual human brains, but also externalized in books, databases, and institutions. Your individual memories connect you to this vast web of human remembering that extends backward through history and outward across all other remembering beings. When you remember something, you're not just accessing your personal past. You are participating in the collective human endeavor of remembering and transmitting knowledge across time. The fact that memory persists across generations, that lessons learned by one generation can inform future generations, reveals how remembering is not just individual and psychological, but also cultural and historical. Your memories gradually become stories, narratives constructed to make sense of your experiences and integrate them into your ongoing life. Over time, the specific episodic memories of particular moments transform into narrative memories, stories about what happened, why it happened, and what it meant. You remember not just the event, but the story you have constructed about the event. This narrative construction serves important psychological functions. It allows disparate experiences to be organized into meaningful patterns. It allows you to locate yourself within a coherent life story. It allows you to communicate your experiences to others. Yet this narrative construction also means that your memories become increasingly shaped by your current understanding and concerns rather than being faithful records of what occurred. Each telling of a memory story can subtly reshape it, emphasizing certain details and downplaying others, reinterpreting meaning in light of current perspectives. Your life story is not a fixed historical record, but a continuously evolving narrative that changes as you change, as you gain new perspectives, as you integrate new experiences. Memory transforms your past into story, and story becomes the primary form through which you know and relate to your own history. And so we come gently to the end of our journey through the mysteries of memory. You have drifted through the vast landscape of how your brain creates, preserves, and transforms the experiences of your life into the story of yourself. You have learned how memories are reconstructed each time you retrieve them, how they are distributed across your brain's vast networks, how they evolve and change across the years. You have discovered that forgetting is not failure, but wisdom, that your mind protects you through selective retention, that the stories you tell about your past gradually become more real to you than the experiences themselves. You have felt how emotion colors memory, how time softens pain while preserving meaning, how your brain works quietly during sleep to consolidate and organize the day's experiences into lasting knowledge. Memory is not a camera recording objective truth. Memory is your brain's way of transforming raw experience into meaning, of weaving the moments of your life into the continuous narrative of yourself. As you rest now, as your consciousness grows soft and your breathing slows, know that your brain continues its ancient work of remembering. Tonight, as you sleep, your memories will be reorganized and consolidated. Your experiences will be integrated into the vast network of what you know. The person you will be tomorrow will be shaped by the memories you carry tonight. Rest now in the gentle knowledge that memory is always working, always preserving, always transforming your past into the foundation of your future.